What's up, everybody? Sunkissed here. Hopefully, you're all doing well and enjoying the new episodes of the Fallout TV show. I know I am. Today's video, I'm going to be bringing you 10 additional tips that I wish I knew as a new player in Fallout 76. I'd like to know down in the comment, what advice do you have for new players? And if you're a new player, how are you liking the Fallout franchise if you've never played before? All right, catch you at the end of the video. As a new player, it can be hard to come by caps, so when you do have them, you'll want them to stretch as far as possible, so you're definitely going to want to make a charisma-specific build for purchasing stuff. So as you can see right now, our purchase price for this plan right here is $23.21, and that is with a charisma of 6. So we'll go ahead and build a charisma class right now. All right, first thing we're going to do is dump all of our points into charisma. So we're at 15 right now, at least for what we can select here. And then we're going to go over here and select Hard Bargain, which gives us an additional 7 charisma when bartering with vendors. And we'll go back over here. And it looks like we got that down to 1800. So from around 2400 down to 1800. So if you're playing as a bloodied character and you have it unyielding, you could get that even higher. There's also other ways to buff your charisma, but I just wanted to call attention to the fact that you should, change around your build a little bit when you're purchasing stuff if you're short on caps. Especially if you're coming from a different Fallout game and you're just not really used to playing, Fallout with teammates. I do think it's important to join a public team just because you get extra benefits from it. And it's not even necessarily that you have to actually play with anybody that's on your team. It's just more so that you're, on a public team together. So in order to do that, you can just press start here, press RB or whatever it is on PC to open the social menu. And you can scroll over to public teams. I'm in a private server, so this is the only one that's showing right now, but you'll see all of the public teams that are available to join here. If there's 3 people in a team, there will be 1 slot open. It's essentially 4 players per team. Or if there's nothing that's available, you can always create a team, and each of these gives different benefits depending on what you're doing. Typically, the best one to join is casual, just because this will give you extra intelligence and also help you level up. Past that, also, I know you might be a little shy to join some of the public events because they might seem difficult on the surface, but fear not. If you see a bunch of other players here, more than likely they are happy to help you through the event. This will give you great XP and great rewards as well, so join up on these once you're ready. As a new player, it's also kind of hard to manage resources at times, so I'm going to call out a few perks here that help you increase your material yield and also spend less materials when crafting things. So first up, we have Butcher's Bounty here in Perception. This is going to give you extra meat when you're harvesting animal corpses. Green Thumb, which essentially does the same thing but for plants and flora. Armorer is going to give you essentially reduced material cost when crafting armor. Chemist will double your crafting yield on chems. Contractor is going to make workshop and camp items cost 50% fewer materials to craft, so definitely going to want to equip this if you're building a new camp. The Powersmith, this will cost, essentially when you're crafting power armor, it'll cost less materials. Scrapper will give you more material when you're crafting, when you're scrapping weapons or armor, so help build up your supply of material. And White Knight, if you are manually repairing items at your workbench, it will be less material to repair. The Ammo Smith, and once we have that at max rank, we're almost going to be able to double our ammo crafting yield. And that works really well in combination with Ammo Factory in the legendary perk cards. Anytime you're crafting anything other than legendary mods, because it doesn't work for that, equip Super Duper, because this will give you a 30% chance to double your crafting yield. And note, this is on a per item level, so if you craft 60 items and this triggers, you're not going to get 120. It's each item has each quantity essentially has a 30% chance to double. The legendary system can be kind of confusing in this game, but I'll do my best to explain it pretty quickly here. The first currency that exists for legendary stuff is legendary Scrip. You get that from turning in legendary weapons to the legendary exchange machine. This will have a daily limit of 500, or in some cases when it's double Scrip weekend, or there's a double Scrip event going on, you can get up to 1,000 per day. Past that, I'm not going to go ahead and scrap one of my favorite weapons here, but if I were to scrap this weapon, I will get a couple Scrip. It's not really that much, but if you've hit your daily limit and you have a bunch of legendary weapons or armor you're not using, you could go ahead and scrap those if you'd like. There's also other few ways that you can get legendary Scrip. One of them is doing expeditions. It's a quest reward once you complete them. Sometimes there is like Holiday Scorch or Spooky Scorch, and they can, or even like a mole miner event, and they drop kind of like loot packs, if you will. And sometimes you open those and you can get Scrip from that. Also doing the raid, which is not necessarily an early game content, but if you do the Gleaming Depths raid, you will get Scrip as a reward for each stage of the raid. I believe you also get a couple modules too. The next legendary item, if you will, or crafting currency, whatever it is a legendary module, and this is what you need to craft legendary mods once you learn them at the Tinker Station. So I'll go ahead and show you how you can get those. There's a few ways to do that, but I'll just go ahead and just grab one of my mods that I'm not going to end up using here. So let's take this Executioner's Box mod. Go over to my mods, go ahead and scrap that, and I get 3 modules for that, and the amount will increase depending on how many legendary stars that box mod is. That's one way to get modules. Legendary box mods can also be given as a reward for completing stages of the raid. So if you are an appropriate level and you don't have any issue running raids, you could run raids and get legendary box mods that way. So most 4-star mods are only earnable from completing the raid over here. So take a look online and see kind of what the legendary mod you're hoping to get, and kind of just check where you can earn it from. There's also new 1 through 4-star mods that were all introduced with the Burning Springs update, and you can only get those from doing bounties. So if there's a particular mod that you have your eye on, make sure you check like FalloutWiki or Reddit just to see kind of what sort of content you need to do to get those mods. If you have mutations in Fallout 76, whether you got them from completing the Enclave quest line and then purchasing the plans, then crafting them yourself, you got them from raids, or you purchased them, there's a few things you should know. First of all, if you have the mutations that you want, keep starch genes on at all times. Anytime you gain rads or rads are taken away and you don't have this equipped, you could potentially lose the mutation that you like. Now, if you have mutations and you need to take rad away or rad-X, definitely take diluted, because this will not suppress any of your mutation effects. So I'll go ahead and take one of these. You'll see no notification about suppression. But if I take a rad away, it has a chance to suppress mutations. Now, it didn't happen this time, but it can. And when that's happening, you lose all of your benefits from your mutations. Fallout 76 actually has a traveling gold bullion vendor called Minerva, and they can spawn at a few locations at different points during the week, and they have kind of a rotating inventory week over week, but they will sell all of the plans between any of the places you can get them for the most part. Not all of them. Some stuff is exclusive, but so I actually don't have this one yet, but you will essentially get a 25% discount from Minerva when you purchase gold bullion plans from them. And past that, you can buy stuff from the settlers or the raiders, even if those plans require you being max rep to buy from those respective vendors. So make sure you keep an eye out to see what inventory Minerva has, and there's a link in the description. Essentially, that website will show you where Minerva will be and what will be in her inventory on a given date. So go check that out. If you find yourself having extra caps, but just not enough gold bullion, there is a place on the map where you can actually buy gold bullion for caps once a week. So once you've completed the Wastelanders quest line, you can fast travel to the Waybird. And once you enter, you can go up these stairs right here. You're going to talk to Smiley. He's going to offer you some gold bullion for caps, and you can buy up to 300 gold bullion for 6,000 caps, and this will reset on a weekly basis. If you do have one unlocked, you will notice that jetpacks operate pretty weird in Fallout 76. They kind of change how they operate between first and third person, and also change depending on where you're looking on the screen. So I'll just illustrate that really quickly here. I'm just going to sprint in a straight line and just kind of tap the jetpack button. If you see, I'm kind of just like losing my forward momentum here and not really gaining any height. But if we run back to the same location, kind of where we started from, switch over into first person, and just looking ahead, not necessarily looking up, but just looking ahead of me, it kind of carries momentum forward. But even past that, though, you can get even further, and some people still don't know this yet. But if you actually kind of like look up or flick your screen up as you're jetpacking, you'll actually go higher and further. So if we kind of just like run and look up while we're jetpacking, you can actually get, you know, pretty high. And you'd be surprised how high you can actually get just from like one initial jetpack burst if you're looking straight up. So I'll just go from like right here. And I made it all the way to the top of this roof just from one jetpack burst. If you're a new player, you're probably wondering if you should play as a human or a ghoul in Fallout 76. So I'll give you a quick rundown of the pros and cons for each character type. Starting off with the human, the first one that's kind of more intangible is that you don't have to put on a disguise to visit various locations around the map. Some places around the map, kind of like if you wanted to enter Fort Atlas, or if you wanted to enter Foundation, you need to put on a disguise if you're a ghoul. So you don't have to do that if you're a human character, so you save the time for doing that. Next up would be that you can play as a bloodied character. So you could have access to unyielding armor, which will give you up to +3 to all of your special stats. So if you're doing a VATS crit build, it's really good for getting AP. It's really good for VATS accuracy. It's the best for leveling up, since you can get really high intelligence with unyielding armor as a bloodied character. Other than that, that's kind of where the benefits of being a human end. The downside of being a human is mostly that you aren't doing the highest DPS possible. Ghouls, for the most part, can be a little bit better at eking out a little bit more DPS while being more tanky. So you won't be doing quite as much damage as a human character, even if you're bloodied. Even less damage if you're just playing full health human. I'll start off with the cons for ghouls. The first con is that you have to put on a disguise when you're entering places like Fort Atlas or Foundation. It is kind of silly, in my opinion. I hope they remove that at some point, but you will need to put on a disguise, so you need to fast travel back and forth between Radiant Hills in order to do that, so that can be a little bit annoying at times. But for the pros, I guess also the cons. Going back to the cons real quick. You won't be able to level up as quickly as easily. Since you're playing as a ghoul character, you can't play a bloodied human and then use unyielding armor. So you'll miss out on the extra intelligence you could potentially get from unyielding armor. So in general, leveling up as a ghoul can take a little bit longer. But the pros for ghoul are quite great, in my opinion. If you have your build spec'd the right way, you can be both tankier than a human and be doing more damage than a human at the same time. Out that the FalloutWiki is a super helpful place to kind of learn information. So I went ahead and searched Fallout 76 submachine gun plans. Normally when you search Fallout 76 and then any terms associated with that, you're going to get FalloutWiki towards the top. So I'm just going to show you a few highlights of this page here. Once you get here, it's going to tell you, where you can get the plans, what type of enemies can drop them, what region they can drop in. It'll tell you what vendors sell them and where their locations are. And not only that, but anything that is yellow or has a hyperlink, it'll take you to another FalloutWiki page that's dedicated specifically to that. So if I wanted to know, okay, I can get the submachine gun plans from the responders vendor at the White Springs. Where's the White Springs? Well, I could right click on that, open the link in a new tab. That'll take me to the White Springs Resort Wiki. And every location has a world map section. And there we go. I can see where it is on the map. So you can find the information that you're looking for pretty quickly. Another thing that you could do is just say Fallout 76 lead. So this is just a crafting material. It'll tell you, you know, what is used or what it's used to craft in. It'll give you some locations and kind of quick summaries of where to get that sort of stuff. It'll give you the list of workshops that have places where you can plant resource harvesters. So yeah, definitely check the FalloutWiki if you're not using it yet. It'll pretty much have any information that you're looking for if you search the right way or you click the right links. Thank you so much for making it to this point of the video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to stick around for future content. Like and hype the video to boost it to a further audience. And hopefully see you in the next video. Thanks again. See you in the next one.